With over 20 league goals scored already this season, I think it's safe to say that Victor Osimhen, if it wasn't for Erling Haaland, would have been considered as the best striker in Europe right now. He's been a major driving force behind an absolutely brilliant overall campaign for Italian club Napoli, helping them get their hands on the Scudetto for the first time in over 3 decades, as himself and his teammates are doing it in the most spectacularly dominant, all-conquering fashion ever.
I've heard you described as unplayable at your best.
When you think of a world-class striker, you think of someone who's unplayable for the most part. I don't know how you game plan against Osimhen.
Osimhen has used goal after goal after goal after goal to win the hearts of the Naples supporters, with his performances being so good to the point where Napoli has valued him at around 150 million euros despite only arriving at the club just 3 years ago as a fresh-faced 21-year-old from Lille. Fast forward 3 years since this move, he's now a Serie A champion, surely destined at this point to becoming the first African to become the top scorer in Italian top flight history, and he's surely a supreme contender for the esteemed title of Africa's Player of the Year.
He's a top player, isn't he?
I have him right now top 3 in Europe out of all the number 9s I can think of.
His cheerful and humble attitude off the pitch mixed with his hardworking gladiator-like presence on it makes a special blend of the perfect teammate necessary for boosting team morale and an absolutely competitive one who can be deeply frightening for opposition defenders.
He's not afraid. He's somebody that has the heart of a lion. He will put his head in any ball.
Big, strong, deadly.
But Osimhen's rise has not been an easy one though, as he has literally had to fight poverty, bad luck, illness and rejection to be at this point in his life and career.
When you ask people that where do I come from, they would say in the family of Victor. I don't think anything good can come out of that family.
From growing up in poverty, leading him to hawking on the streets of Lagos, to failing at his first big European club, to being rejected by Belgian clubs and so on, to now becoming a megastar, this is the inspirational rise of Victor Osimhen. Victor James Osimhen was born in Lagos, Nigeria. Osimhen's family hailed from Edo State in the southern part of the country. Osimhen grew up poor. He lost his mother at a very young age and his father lost his job. Life was very difficult for him and his family. Osimhen, the last of 6 children in his family at a very young age, had to do his part in contributing to the family's survival. He did this by often hawking water in the traffic on the streets of Lagos, as well as doing other things such as cutting grass, fetching of water for neighbors, running errands and so on.
I left home while I was a very young boy to sell pure water on the traffic of Lagos, and of course to do some kind of job like cutting the grass, going errands for some people, fetching water for some of our neighbors, just to get a little money for me to feed.
Despite all of the hardship he was facing, he saw a ray of hope: football.
My dream is to play football. I have nothing in mind than to play football, because I don't know how my life would have been if I haven't been a professional footballer.
Words cannot explain how big football is in Nigeria. Be it on the field, on the streets, or in football academies, football is always played no matter in which condition. So it wouldn't be surprising to discover that a lot of Nigerians dream of one day becoming professional footballers and making it into the big leagues. But sadly, an underwhelming amount of them actually are able to do so due to a whole host of reasons. The point is that for Osimhen, becoming a successful footballer was going to be extremely difficult.
In their own country, young Nigerian footballers are relegated to the sidelines.
Train in the morning and we train in the evening too, to exercise ourselves and to want to use it to to become a footballer tomorrow. But this thing have killed our dream.
Due to his background, it was always going to be harder for him to be able to make any substantial progress while ascending through the footballing ladder. But the character his childhood struggles molded him out to be was of that of resilience, and through that, he developed an appetite for hard work, and this went a long way in helping him become the man he is today. His primary school will serve as a footballing meeting point in his local community, where himself, along with several others, will go every evening to watch his older brother, Andrew Osimhen, who was a local football star in the community. Andrew, the eldest child of the family, sadly had to abandon his education in order to earn money to feed his family. Upon further inspection into the potential of young Victor's talents, his brother would do his best to help Osimhen realize his dreams, including sacrificing his. Osimhen would soon be discovered by a local scout who noticed something special about him and would invite him to Ultimate Strikers Academy, where he would undergo successful trials, beginning his first real step to becoming a footballer. While he was at Ultimate Strikers, Osimhen would go for a trial which would determine the player who would represent Nigeria for the upcoming Under-17 World Cup. It was there where he met former Super Eagles and Barcelona player Emmanuel Amuneke, who would invite him to represent the nation at the 2015 Under-17 World Cup. At first, during the screening for the World Cup, Amuneke revealed in an interview with SoccerNet that Osimhen was moments away from being cut from the screening. When I saw him in the first game, because there were lots of people, there was nothing much in his group. It can happen. You can be a good player, but you find yourself with a group maybe they're not helping you as a striker. It will make you look as if you're not good. Each game was 30 minutes. After 15 minutes of watching the game, I used the next 15 minutes to arrange the next group of players that will come up as quick as possible. After their game, based on what I had seen in the first 15 minutes, I was not interested in that group. My assistant came to me. That's why you have an assistant. They said, "Coach, there's one player there." I said, "I didn't see much, but let him remain and let's see him again." The next game, I put him in and then I took my time to watch him. Like I said, I like his hunger, I like the desire, he wants to win. I'm happy that Victor is doing well today. This tournament was where Osimhen absolutely exploded. His performance impressed literally everyone who watched. He won the hearts of millions, and as is always the case with tournaments like the Under-17 World Cup, scouts from all over the world would be watching, observing and analyzing every single standout performer so they could recommend them to their various clubs. Fresh off the back of his team winning the whole tournament and himself grabbing the golden boot with 10 goals as well as the silver ball, there shouldn't be any surprise that his name was being shortlisted by bigger clubs. Osimhen, who is believed to be a huge fan of Chelsea right from a very young age, was gaining comparisons with the Blues and African football legend Didier Drogba due to their similarities in style and overall manner of play.
Who would you compare him to? Does he remind you of anyone?
Yeah, I think Didier Drogba.
They were both physical, strong, athletic, and ruthless in front of goal.
He's a great striker, Victor Osimhen. He said that you are his legend.
I like him a lot.
Do you like him?
Oh yeah, great striker.
Arsenal, Manchester City, and Tottenham Hotspur were the notable Premier League clubs that were in for him, but Osimhen would make a shocking decision that would have been considered crazy upon initial knowledge, but understandable later on. In January of 2016, he was given the award for the 2015 Africa Youth Player of the Year at the CAF Awards on the same night that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was crowned as Africa's Best Player of the Year. Osimhen would finally announce that he would be signing for German Bundesliga club Wolfsburg. Now, according to him, they provided him more money, which of course would be of great help to his family, plus the assurance that they gave him as well as his personal preference to play at a German club over any other top club in Europe. Now, from a career standpoint, considering the caliber of clubs he rejected, that decision seemed like a no-brainer, but considering the treatment that many academy players from some of these big clubs receive, it all of a sudden had to be thought about very carefully. Majority of the academy players from these clubs don't even make it into the first team, with many of them either ending up getting released after all the time they spent there or getting caught up in a deeply unfavorable loan system. And also, he has the advantage that German football is renowned for putting some of the best systems in place for younger players to be able to grow and develop. His time at Wolfsburg would not go according to plan at all. Osimhen, who made his Bundesliga debut in May of 2017, had a horrible time at the club. He first suffered a shoulder injury that required surgery to fix, and after making a full recovery, he suffered an illness which made him miss preseason. This nightmare effectively ruined his time in Germany.
But of course, I try to interact, I try to learn the culture, the food, the language, but it didn't go well for me.
He was never the same, and so after 0 goals scored, the striker was shipped out to Belgian club Charleroi after initially getting rejected by other Belgian clubs, one of which was Club Brugge, due to his terrible physical condition, which was as a result of him suffering from malaria.
So I had to go to Belgium for trials, and I was rejected by 2 clubs there before Charleroi took the gamble on me.
When asked about his time at Wolfsburg, he said, "The weather, the language, the food. It was my first time in Europe. I was just 18 years old. I didn't have enough time to acclimatize. They didn't believe in me very much." Osimhen would quickly find success at Charleroi, scoring 20 goals in his first season there. It was from here that Lille, in the same summer in which they facilitated the £72 million sale of their star player Nicolas Pepe to Arsenal, Osimhen was signed as his replacement. During his only season at the club, Osimhen scored 18 goals in 38 matches, won the Ligue 1 Player of the Month in September as well as the Lille Player of the Season, and he broke the sprint barrier 35 km/h more times than even Kylian Mbappe. And if this wasn't impressive enough, he also recently surpassed yet another world-class legendary player's record in an area he previously bossed when he surpassed Cristiano Ronaldo's record for highest jump in the Serie A. Osimhen is a beast, a hard worker with a huge muscular frame. As a striker, he can score any type of goal you want. Heavy shots, tap-ins, finish from tight angles, headers, you name it. His tall frame helps him get a huge advantage when competing for headers. Due to his background and struggles, the 24-year-old has cultivated a true warrior-like personality. After just 1 year in France, the world of football could simply not ignore, and soon after they came calling again. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United and so on, but Osimhen would once again snub those names in favor of signing for Napoli, a club with a very rich history but has been lacking in silverware for quite some time, mostly playing second fiddle to Juventus in their almost decade-long dominance of Italian football. Napoli had not laid their hands on the Serie A title in 3 decades. He was signed by the club for over 80 million euros when taking add-ons into account, making him the most expensive African footballer of all time in terms of transfer fees. And 3 years after this move, Napoli have finally done it, with the majority of the work mostly done this season with several smart acquisitions, especially that of Kvaratskhelia. Napoli's attack has become stronger than ever. Maradona, as he's now affectionately being called by the Napoli faithful, is a walking highlight, someone who has certainly provided a lot of material for people to make YouTube skills compilations out of. Osimhen is what you call a multi-purpose striker. He can hold up play, therefore freeing up wingers like Kvaratskhelia around him, and when in counter-attacking situations, he can make very clever runs behind the defenders by often positioning himself on their blind side so his runs would not easily be detected.
I don't know how you game plan against Osimhen, because you could say, well, sit back, he'll kill you in the air because he's so good at timing the headers, he's a great leaper. You dare play out from the back with a high line, he's going to kill you on the counterattack. And then if you want to get a body into him, well, then he's strong, he has good balance for a 6'2" striker, and he can turn very quickly. Oh, and he can play with the ball at his feet and play that quick link-up game too. So to me, he's one of the top strikers in the world.
His partnership with Kvaratskhelia has been something special, as both players have dominated both goals and assists in the league. Combine Vicha's daredevil style of dribbling with Osimhen's more rotting style of play, then you will have two of the most deadly attacking players ever attacking your goal. They are not easy for defenders to handle at all. One major topic of discussion with Osimhen right now is about his potential transfer out of Napoli. The striker recently expressed his desire to play for a Premier League club, and naturally, from his history of admiring Chelsea, many have concluded that they're the ones in the driving seat to get his signature.
What team do you think he would suit most?
Where's he going to go? Chelsea.
But judging by the absolute mess the club currently finds itself in, it wouldn't be surprising to many if he decides to snub them in favor of signing for another club. Of course, with Chelsea, he is walking into a very talented squad, but they don't really seem to have the bearing at the moment. And at a crucial point in his career, this could be too much of a risk. There is also talk of the number 9's curse, which he has Tammy Abraham over there in Italy to tell him all about it. Maybe if Chelsea had gone for him 2 years ago instead of Lukaku, then maybe the story could have been different. Is he a perfect fit for this Chelsea team? Absolutely. But if their managers keep flopping, they could potentially drag themselves and his promising career down with them. Manchester United is yet another option, and Osimhen does seem like a good fit for Ten Hag's squad. He's energetic, quick, ruthless and hardworking. Everything Ten Hag wants in a potential striker is there. There is also Arsenal, who could really do with a striker like him to help strengthen their potential title charge next season. He could also as well explore the option of staying at Napoli. They have a great squad, the players have great chemistry, and they certainly are going to get many chances to challenge for the Champions League trophy. Compared to the aforementioned Premier League clubs, there isn't any of them that has a much better shot at winning the Champions League next season compared to Napoli. So staying would be a very wise move, as he would be able to establish himself as not just a Napoli legend, but as a legend of Italian football.